Hi, Long. Thanks for coming in today. First question is, did you bring in your diary card?
Yes, I did.
All right, thank you. Wow, I'm impressed. Everything's filled out. Good job.
I try.
Compared to the other weeks, you actually filled out every single day since the last time we met. Looking at this though, it seems like, is it safe to say you had a pretty rough week?
Oh yeah, it really was for me.
Was there a day you specifically want to focus on?
If I had to look at that chart, I'll probably say Thursday was my worst, which was yesterday.
So yesterday, all right. Can you tell me what happened yesterday?
I came from work. I used to get up around 4. Came home, I showered. I had a late lunch. I was ready to sit down and actually study, and I had all my homework out. A friend of mine actually called me around 5:45, like right then and there. He asked me to go to the Twilight concert, which was this huge event that happens, roughly once a year, that I never actually went to before. So, due to my curiosity, I decided to choose that route.
Okay, so that was unplanned, like
Oh yeah, definitely.
an event that you didn't.
I didn't even know they were in town. So.
Alright. So going back to, it looks like you had the high urge to attend an unplanned event, and then you acted on that event, and it seems like that affected, starting homework before 6 p.m., correct?
Oh yeah, definitely.
What time did you get home from the concert?
I probably say close to 11 o'clock.
Close to 11 o'clock?
Close to 11.
Okay, so, by that time, what'd you do when you got home?
Oh, I went straight to bed.
You went straight to bed?
Straight to bed.
So, no homework before 6, and the other behavior we're looking at is maybe doing homework alone, but since you didn't do homework, you didn't do that either. Alright, so going back to your goal though, we set the goal for 2 hours a day, correct?
Yep.
5 days a week. Can you tell me if that's realistic for you?
Given my circumstance right now, I feel a little bit unease. I don't think it's as realistic as it played out in my mind. I just love socializing. I just can't help it. There's days where people just call me, like I feel like I have to go. I just can't help myself.
Okay, but you also value education, correct?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so do you think maybe it would be helpful if you set your goal so that you don't socialize at all and you do 2 hours every single day? Or would it be easier to maybe lessen the days you want to do homework?
Perhaps that would be a good suggestion. I feel like 5 days is a little bit too much for me.
Okay.
I feel like it's a huge commitment that when I do fail one day, I feel like this whole week is a complete mess for me.
Okay, so what would be realistic for you and attainable?
I'd probably say 2 days.
So 2 days, you want to maybe start out small first?
Yes.
And maybe if it works out for you, you can increase it?
Exactly.
Alright, so we'll make that change here. So instead of 2 hours a day, you're going to increase it to... Do you still want to do 2 hours?
Since I'm short in the day, I'll try to aim for 3 hours.
So you want to increase the hours, so
Yes.
3 hours and at least 2 days a week, correct?
Yep.
Okay, and how do you feel, about studying alone in that time period for 3 hours a day, 2 times a week? What's the pros and cons of studying alone versus studying with friends?
Definitely a pro. I feel like I'm more focused. I don't have that distractions around me all the time. The cons is, roughly about an hour into my studying, I feel a little bit unease. I start getting a little bit shaky, just because I'm not comfortable with being around such a quiet area all the time. So that's one of my cons.
Okay, great. So you would still want to look at that behavior, studying alone, as well as your goal is to do 2 hours a day, at least 2 times a week. Would it be helpful for you to start before 6 p.m. or do you still want to keep that in your treatment plan?
I think 6 p.m. That's where I have a problem with. I think that's one of the main causes. So I think if I were to do the 2 hours or even 3 hours, for example, I might do it before I sleep. That way, right after I finish studying, just hop right into bed and just go to sleep. So I would say roughly about 8 o'clock.
So starting your homework before 8 o'clock or finishing your homework before 8 o'clock?
Start before 8 o'clock.
Start before 8 o'clock.
Yep.
And is that, realistic for you?
It definitely seems realistic right now in my mind.
In your mind? Okay, so can you just briefly go over your daily...
Yeah, so I go to work at 7 in the morning. I get off around 4 p.m. So now from the time of 4 to 8, I have a 4-hour gap for me to, do everything I want to do. Socializing, go to gym, eat, whatever it may be. And then right after that, I feel like my day is complete. Then I can just focus on my homework for the last few hours of the day. And then just, go to bed right afterwards.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And just, what has worked for you in the past with setting these goals and what hasn't worked for you?
In the past, I feel like distraction is one of the primary reasons why I can't focus on my goals. Like when I told you my friend gave me a call, I had to go. It was just like an automatic response to it, yeah. So that's definitely one of the things I need to work on. The pros of it.
Sorry, that was my phone. I apologize. My phone should really be off during the sessions, but since we had to be on call and everything, I apologize.
Okay, no, that's fine. Yeah, so going back to the pros and cons, like I mentioned the cons to you. The pros of me doing that, back in the days was I saw a huge increase in my grades. It went from B's to A's, and it felt really good for those few first semesters.
Okay, and so it seems like you have done great in the past by increasing grades, focusing more, studying more. But it seems like, the two things that's been getting in the way of keeping with that goal is your unplanned socializing and playing games for more than 2 hours.
Yes.
Can I ask, when do you usually play games for 2?
Yeah, so sometimes, I play games right after work. I come home. There's days where it's been extremely at work with different clients. So I go home, just to play the game, just to get my mind off work. If I can jump to homework rather than, coming home irritated and doing homework, and that never seems to be effective for me at all.
So I could definitely see why, I could definitely understand why you would want to play games and alleviate that stress before doing homework. But at the same time, can you explain why you would play games for maybe more than 2 hours rather than playing for 30 minutes?
The simple response to that is I just lose track of time. Like going back to the distraction, I keep saying 5 minutes, and 5 minutes adds up to the next, it's 2 hours. So.
Okay, so it seems like you still value playing games for, to alleviate that stress when you come home. What if we add to your plan maybe do you think putting a reminder on your phone when you play, so it rings or whatnot to kind of let you know what the time is?
That would definitely work. I never thought of that before.
So what's realistic to you as in terms of playing games? What's enough for you to help you?
Right now I'll probably say about an hour. I'll try to cut it in half and, slowly work toward that progression.
Okay, so an hour. Alright, so if we want to be specific, is playing games for more than an hour right now, right? Because you still want that 1 hour. Alright. Okay. Alright, thank you for your time.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for meeting me.
I think our time's up right now. I'll see you next week.
Alright, sounds good. And are you single?